Alright, welcome to... Oh my gosh. I was almost said the same thing again. Alright, my name is Paula Phillips, also known as Journal Artista. And it is, what, Friday morning? Early? I start work at 2, so I don't usually have to start getting ready about noon. So I got a couple hours. I wanted to show... before my wonderful friends gifted me with this wonderful gift, I couldn't record on the old laptop. So, and one of the things that I'd shown while I couldn't record was all my research with the Jane Davenport and Prima versus Prima watercolors. And so I have all the sets. One of them, thank you to Zandra, sent me the Glitz C pack. But I do have all of the, except for the new one. I think Prima came out with a new one, right? At CHA. To be honest, Zandra might have given me more than one. No, Prima Odyssey, I bought that. Pastel Dreams. Alright, so I don't know how many sets. I think I still have one more tin out there. 2 Jane Davenports, or 3, because you bought me the new one. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There might be 6 Prima sets. I'm not saying she's not giving her credit. I don't know if she gave her credit or not. That was the first time I noticed it. I know on her Instagram she didn't write stencil by tag Julie Faye Fan Balzer. Although I tagged Julie Faye Fan Balzer. I just wrote, I love Julie's stencils, which is true. So, anyways. Alright, so these are all, and I have a whole bunch, because and I'll show you here, I consolidated most of these, or all of them, except for the new one, the Glitzy. So I have all these empty tins. Tiny tins. Let me see which ones are full and which ones are not. Alright, that is Odyssey. I don't think I've integrated that yet. Duplicates. Empty. So yeah, Prima, Shimmering Lights, Odyssey, Pastel Dreams, Classics, Decadent Pies, and there is a bright set that I don't have somewhere else. So I have all these empty. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. Because what I did, first thing when I've got these, so those are duplicates. These are duplicates. Hi, Mindy. Hi, Imelda, Monique, Lori. Anybody I missed? So, my friends, these are all, yeah, Jane Davenport, Odyssey. Yeah. These are all duplicates. So, the first thing people, when I start researching, and I'll show you in this book, the first thing I said to myself, so these are the exact same tins. The exact same. But then I thought, okay, I have a lot of watercolors in the same type of tin. You know, we can buy this exact tin, like here from Medine. I always want to say it's, or is it Mendine? If you search empty, you know, half pans or something like that, you'll find the company. So, anyways, these are all, I'll show you in a moment. So, I wasn't exactly sure that they were the same, right? Like the same manufacturer, it's wrapped the same. It's just the labels are different. Jane Davenport has a print on there. Prima might have, you know, with the new set, she might have done that already, or they might have done that as well. So at the beginning, so I merged most of them. I should say most because I had so many. No, not that kit. Sorry, I have 3. These are 48 pan set. I have 3 of them that I bought empty to merge everything. And my other one is out in the couch where I do most. And that has, the other one has all of the shimmering lights. And out there, the one that Zandra gifted me, the Glitz C palette, that's out there as well. So I'm still missing 12, 24. There's 26 colors out there. It's illegal. so anyways, let's see how I use them. Wait, let me show you the indents to prove that I use them. Look at that. They're being used. All right. So let's start back here. When I first started all this testing, and hopefully it's not too dark. I don't have much control. Anyway, so this is a Jane Davenport journal. They're supposed to be watercolor journals. I have the small one, the big one. I have another one that's printed that had different swatches in it. But at the beginning, my swatches weren't good because I didn't know enough about watercolor to know how much water to use, right? So all my swatches are pretty, washed out because I didn't have enough pigment. So I almost had to do all my swatches again. Also, this book, and I didn't go, I used about halfway before I realized or found out that it was hot press watercolor paper, not cold press. It's just going to be, not that, hot or cold, I guess one is better than the other. It's just going to look different on cold press. All right. So I'll just show you the first couple things when I started. This is a cool, simple flower I learned on Skillshare. So I'll just quickly flip through this. These are some, and I write notes. These are P.H. Martin's synchromatic inks. So this is also brush practice, right? So controlling how much paint, controlling my brush. So I like blooms. So if you see that, if you see this type of thing, or water blooms like that, that's on purpose. Anyway, over and over. This was a failed experiment with salt. The salt is still on the page after, this was June 26th. Still there. So I've been using tiny brushes. Obviously, that's probably a size 2. Could be a 4. I've really been, there's a certain size, as you can see, something like that I've now, like this size that I really enjoy doing. I don't know why. For example, this is M Grand Prussian Blue and Indian Yellow. So I started with those two colors, the brightest ones there. And then I made all these colors with those two. All those colors are with just those two primaries. So playing around again, and I write notes, Prima, Jane Davenport. These are PrimaTeks, Daniel Smith PrimaTek. So I was trying to tell Janet to get. PrimaTeks are made with real minerals, ground up like amethyst and that type of thing. So I was practicing circles and rectangles going the other way. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm not looking. Oh, excuse me. So just random things, and this is when I used, see how bright these are? And we'll get into the comparisons in a moment. They're moonlight pens, Jelly Roll Moonlights, Moon Glow, Moon Glow, one or the other. And you can paint them out. You have to be quick, but you can brush them on and use water and paint them out. These are some more of the PrimaTeks. So you'll see how, if you like granulation, if you don't like granulation, I don't suggest you get PrimaTeks. Blue Apatite, I'm looking for. Jadeite is nice. Oh, wrong way. Jadeite goes into a bunch of different greens when it feathers out. Of course, those are wet on wet. And amethyst. The amethyst has, if you looked at that in real life, there's actually shimmer in it. So all of these, garnet, hematite, well, not minerals. They're gemstones. Anyway, so I was taking the Anna Calderon class on Skillshare, so you'll see some of those type of things. So when I say research, I researched them. Most of these were the Prima. That's 100%. And I mix them now. I don't know which are Prima and which are Jane Davenport, Colleen, because, well, you'll see in a moment. I just mix both sets together based on color. So as you can see, for a few months, this is all I did. These are the Patty made me buy them. Patty Tully Parrish, the fluorescent watercolors. And my friends, they are super bright. They're Gansai watercolors. I don't know if you can tell how fluorescent those bad boys are, but you almost need glasses, sunglasses, to look at those bad boys. So just over and over, and sometimes I do different shades. Sometimes this is kind of the size that I'm attracted to right now. But I love blooms. And then I did some triangles on that page. Did some crystals with lots of the blooms. I guess the background being almost the same colors, I mean, other than this green one, really makes it blend in. So probably not the best choice. Okay. Prima Shimmering Lights. They're their metallic set. There is zero, Jen said it yesterday, zero comparison between Prima's metallics and the fine techs. You can't even compare. But I did do this mosaic. And let me see. Mixing a bunch of the Prima lights. So I don't even think you're going to be able to see any shimmer at all. Let me see. There's the gold down here. Maybe that will show. Come on, camera. Can't see it. Anyways, there's no comparison. This is like, you might as well just call this a sheen. Practicing with different brushes. So again, a lot of this was practice not only with brush control, but mostly water control. How much water, and what different brushes though too, right? Some brushes obviously hold more water than others, but really it was about the consistency, trying to get the right water to paint ratio and learning about that. These are also, but again, if you don't like granulation, the Daniel Smith PrimaTeks you will not like at all. You can't control the granulation. That's amethyst. So when I started to get some new colors, this is Moonglow, I think, Daniel Smith. Then I just did whole pages of those colors. And then I took a page out of Terry's, our Terry Trouble Terry, and I glued a bunch of the labels in here. So, like that. So when I say I did research, I did research. Now this is crazy. Hold on to your horses, right? Don't judge me for what I did in here, because it might be a little obsessive. But it was all in the name of research. So again, this is hot press watercolor paper, and it's upside down. Jane Davenport journal. No, now it's upside down. What the heck? What is that? What is that shadow? Oh, my pens. All right. Did do some, again, this is the amethyst. I wish you could see on my camera. I think on some of my Instagram posts, I've taken pictures where you're able to see the sheen. So I started some brush control practice. And again, some Skillshare classes, I was practicing my gradients. And then I said, well, more things. Then I was doing some brush comparisons, and I need to get back to this. So obviously I'm starting out with tiny brushes, like super tiny. For example, these are a 3-0. This is a Winsor Newton Cotman 00. And it doesn't want to focus now. This one is Winsor Cotman number 1, round 1. So I was, again, testing how straight I could get the line, how did it hold water, took some notes. I mean, this 00, look at compared to my finger, how tiny those lines are. So anyways, then I stopped after the Da Vinci number 0. But I did leave spaces for all of the, not all, but a bunch of different ones I wanted to test. So now we get into the comparisons of the Jane Davenport and Prima. So I am missing the new Glitzy. I haven't done the Jane Davenport Glitzy palette into this, but I did do a few and know there's also duplicates in that. All right. So first, and that's what Colleen said, how did I know? Well, when I had all those Primas, they didn't have names. They had numbers. And when I bought the Primas, you know, I didn't think about doing this. I just threw out most of the wrappers, and then you can't tell what color is what. And right now I can't tell what color. Well, I can a little bit if I looked at my other swatch book, which I don't know where it is. But when I did this, I just had to number them. See what I mean? It was just all numbered. So don't hate me that I don't know what color is the same as what color. I just found out that between the Jane Davenport sets and the Prima sets, there's a ton of duplicates. So if you look at these yellows right off the bat, let's go up here. I don't know how well you can see colors. It's hard to hold my book up. See if it focuses. Maybe not. Come on. There we are. All right, so can you guys tell that the first and the third and the second and the fourth are the exact same color? And, you know, based on, so I thought to myself, okay, when I'm testing these two colors, maybe I'm using more water in one and less in the other, and, you know, one's a wash and one's not. But so that's why I did all of the different gradients, all the different washes, right? From full strength to almost none. To make sure that, okay, that one looks like that one. Yeah, I didn't wash it out. It is same, 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 same. Right? These two colors. Same, same. Slightly off. I don't know if you can even tell with my, if you can't tell on my camera, that color, even though it's a bit different, a tiny bit, might as well call it the same because you can't really see it. Same as the greens. One for sure is like Jiminy Cricket. I'm not sure what the Prima one is. So then I thought to myself, okay, I'll do all the colors. So don't think I'm crazy. Dee Dee might have fainted at this point. So I started with the browns and anything with an X, right? So you can see that those two are the same. And again, I just had number systems based on how they were numbered into my palette. So I apologize for that. And then the blues. So if there's a star beside it, that means that it's not a duplicate, I think. Right? Same. That one's a little bit different. That one's a little bit different. Same. Same. And back into the blues. And see, even some of these that now are different, like for example, like say this indigo, this deep blue, it's also in the new Glitz C palette. So I just haven't added it to it, right? The same as the purples. There's actually a triplicate because this purple and these two are the same. And then go back over here, more purples. So the Pastel Dreams by Prima, I've actually been using a lot. It's semi-opaque or quite opaque, but I like, if you look at my planner, which I don't have out here, I like dropping ink in, you know, the wet on wet. So same things, same pinks. And if you go over here, back to more pinks. So these are all Jane Davenport. So that bright color between the brights and the Prima Brights and the... No. Jane Davenport Brights Prima Tropical, I think. So, again, like it's so many... Look at the yellows. That yellow's in triplicate. The one I originally showed you. So it's in either more than one Prima palette or more than one Jane Davenport. It's hard to tell. Same as this yellow, triplicate. Now they may be marketing it that it's somewhat different. But it's so close that like the tiniest shade, you would not be able to tell the difference if it was on a page. So then back over here again, right? Same peach. This is from one of the neutral palette, Jane Davenport, and the other one might be from Decadent Pie, maybe. But again, same. And like I said, I did all the washes and gradients to show that it wasn't just me not having the right water, like the water to paint ratio. So same. And this green, I'm pretty sure I've been testing it, but I haven't done it in line, that this green is similar to the new one in the Glitz C palette. Yeah, so these are some of the Glitz C palettes here, right? I didn't do all 12. So this is one of the blues, pink, terracotta type color. But if I go over here and look at the terracotta, I'm pretty sure that color is similar to this one. I'm pretty sure. If you look like this. But I'll do it side by side again. Same as the greens. Even the greens in the Glitz C palette. To me, they're so similar, you might as well call them the same. I don't understand. If somebody else has that, it doesn't make any sense. That blue, like the more I swatch it, I can't figure it out. So again, that blue, that's more of a... They're so similar, even if they're not duplicates. So anyways, long story short, and that was a long story because believe me, it took me a while. The number, I think in the last count, not including the Glitz C palette, there was 26 duplicates. So in other words, and because I merged them all together, if you have all 6 Primas, right? If you have all 6, I'm like 5, this is 5, I know. All 6 Primas, you do not need even one Jane Davenport set. Not one. There's not one color in the Jane Davenport set that were not with the Primas. And if it was different, it was so slightly different, I could paint it 100 times. Like you can't even tell, believe me. It's just so, so obviously they're the same manufacturer. They're just picking from, different colors. And the yellows were kind of a disappointment, like the triplicate. So I think that there was the yellow in the Prima Brights or Jane Davenport Basics. I get them all confused. And I think the Pastel Dreams had a similar yellow. But, yeah. No, there's no difference in the paint. They are exactly the same. Exactly. I don't care what anybody says. I don't, you can fight. I did all this research, my friend. You tell me somebody else that has done all of this swatch and all of this, 90% of this is Jane Davenport and Prima. Exactly the same. Exact same quality. Exact same product. It's the same manufacturer. It has to be. Has to be. Same colors, same product, same tins, different brand name. I wonder if that means you can find those watercolors on Wish. Because isn't Wish one of those websites that's like you buy direct from China without the middleman? No? It's not a waste of money. Like all my, I'm actually using them. So if you see all of my, I guess it just means that, well, that's not, that pan there is obviously not Prima, but nor is that one. But that just means that I have duplicates and that I'll use. Like, those two yellows and, what can you do? And heck yes, I'm buying the new Prima set. So with all these duplicates, and there's some grays in here, but grays, black, and white that I don't keep in my big palette. But yeah, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27, 28. For some reason, I have 30-something sets. And what set is this? Odyssey. Okay, so I haven't... No. I don't know, my friends. But these are all duplicates. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was Primas. If you just search watercolors, do they look like this? It wouldn't be the brand name Jane Davenport or Prima, because they're buying it from somebody else. I've even seen, when I went downtown on my last doctor's appointment, did I put it in there? They had watercolor pans, and what was the brand name? Did I put it in here? No, because it was in a different packaging. I think. Oh yeah, but I only kept this. Dang it! It was even this set. Miyongo. Maybe it was it's already off. Yeah, that I don't know. You guys know what I mean. I think it starts with an M. That's right, Eileen. Hey, Julie. And I don't care what anyone says. These are not artist grade watercolors, people. They can call them that. They are not. In fact, sometimes it's so freaking frustrating to me. Let's find a set. Well, I'll show you one from one that I use all the time. Some of them are chunky. Quite almost all of them. And that's for both Jane Davenport and Prima. Not just that. So let me see. Let me find one that is a good. This blue. Alright. You're going to focus for me. Alright, see those chunks? And if I wet it, it's even more pronounced. Let's see. My yellow is kind of dirty. I can't... Which other one was able to show how chunky it is? They're rough. So when I wet them, those chunks sometimes don't fully dissolve. Like you really have to, like here, you almost have to use your brush with water to kind of dissolve it. But none of my artist grade watercolors does that. Yeah, Kathy, Myungo. I'm pretty sure that that's what this is. And they sold them separately. And I bought the one of the hot pinks. You know, that may be why I have more than one of those. Or I would have 3. This color, I don't think you can see it. But it's the brightest pink. It's in both the Prima Tropicals. And then Jane Davenport Brights or whatever. Yeah. The first time I bought them, I posted a picture on Instagram of, you know, because they have all these beautiful professional watercolorists on their Instagram, which I love. I love to watch, but they make it look like it's the best quality paint ever. But especially the one woman, what is her name? That Prima always posts? It starts with an S. Anyway, she's an amazing watercolor artist, but I'm 99% sure she uses Arches paper, right? So hers are going to look, like Janet always says, paper's important. So hers are going to look extra good. No matter what color watercolor she uses, because she's using it on the best paper, best watercolor paper out there. Most people are just, you know, like me, either using it in Jane Davenport hot press book or just like 140-pound paper or something like that. So is this my watercolor book? Although I did find at Michael's, and of course I had to buy 3. Now that this one's completely filled and goes on my bookshelf, I did find Canson Mixed Media, and you know, not Mixed Media, excuse me. You know I love these Canson Mixed Media journals. I love the 7x10 size. I've completed a lot of these in the mixed media, but I have never seen it in watercolor paper. Maybe I haven't looked for it. And it's 140-pound paper. There's 30 sheets in here, cold press. It's the same as if you buy the pads of the XL watercolor. I've just never seen any ones that are coiled in the same size. Kathy bought the water-soluble wax pastels Prima and the one Myungo, and they were exactly the same, except for Myungo was a lot cheaper. I have the Primas. I don't have the Myungo ones. So watercolor. So you guys have seen this before. I was just so excited that was in a journal like this. So I was practicing some triangles, and again, this is an Anna Victoria Calderon class on Skillshare. And if you're gonna, I love Skillshare. I pay membership for it, $22 American every month or whatever it is. Stop it. And Simon's yelling at Bella. Come on, Bella, come here, give me this. What is she? I don't know what she's eating. Anyway, Simon can take care of that. But Skillshare, if you want to sign up for Skillshare, I think you get a month free. But, you know, tweet me, ask me, because it does help. If you use a link that I use, then I get 1 month free. I love that website, and I'm not, you know, begging for whatever. But if you want to sign up, and they give you a free trial, right? But the amount, and brush lettering, I don't know. I just absolutely love that site. There's so many classes on everything. So anyways, I love Anna Marie Calderon. I did start trying over here just with primaries, but I didn't finish it. These are all jadeite, or excuse me. Are you paying attention, Janet? Oh, don't get me going on gelatos. Oh, chai. Today's not the day to talk about. Today's not the day for me to rant about gelatos. Just saying. I'm not going to do that today. Maybe later. But I did scientifically test out all my watercolor crayons. I just think gelatos, nothing wrong with them. They're overpriced. And people do some amazing things with them. Anyways, they're overpriced. I'm cooked. So these are PrimaTeks again. And I think this rhodite, jadeite, amethyst, Mayan blue, you can buy Oh no, there's 7 here. You can buy a small set from Amazon, the PrimaTek starter set. I don't know if it's in here or not. And they're just, 5 milliliter tubes. So I know these are just all empty cans. Oh yeah. So it looks like this. Daniel Smith PrimaTek. And it comes with rhodonite, Mayan blue, genuine, jadeite, hematite, amethyst, pyrite. So what am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's only 6 here. So what am I missing? Which one is not like the other? Rhodonite, jadeite, amethyst, Mayan blue, hematite. Oh, lapis lazuli. Yeah, sorry. All right. So these are the colors. Again, you might not like PrimaTeks if you don't like granulation. But that jadeite, for example, look at how that feathers out in the wet on wet. These are made with the real, granulated gemstones or crystals. So see that amethyst? My camera might not pick it up, but I promise my friends it's glittery. Shimmer. Mayan blue. Hematite, which does some really cool granulation things. Like, doesn't that look like the moon? This is Biomite. I think I'm missing an eye in that. And lapis lazuli, which didn't come in that kit, but with me and gemstones, lapis lazuli, if you believe in that stuff, and I won't go into it, but it's good for people that have mental illness like myself. Anyways, I really like those bad boys. So over here, I was testing different colors. There's 3 different colors. Iridescent blue from Daniel Smith, which is awesome. Like, you want to talk iridescent? Let's see. Daniel Smith iridescent blue. So what I tried, and I think I must have started with this blue, this pink, and thing. And I can't remember. I should have wrote it down. I don't know why I don't remember this. So I was mixing them. I was testing out. So if you look across the lines, crossing line, right? I mixed, was it 2, 4, 6, 3 colors? Long story short, so I must have been using a darker blue. I wasn't mixing the 2 directly. I was dropping one into the other, if that makes sense. So this pink and blue, I didn't mix them directly. I dropped it into, right? So I dropped iridescent blue into whatever pink I was using. I don't know why I didn't write it down. And these ones on the bottom are straight. But you see all the blooms. I love that look. But just to prove to everybody that I can do a flat wash. So these are the colors that I mixed them on the palette and then painted. So here you have them mixing organically by dropping in or mixing them these same colors directly on your palette. And there's still granulation, right? But that's the flat colors without any blooms or without. So some people like the flat stuff and some people, or the regular wash. And I'm still working on this bad boy. This is the one I think that's on Instagram that you can see the amethyst. Frustrating that it won't show. Anyway, working on that. And I was working on a couple Christmas trees. And then I just started filling things in because I didn't like my Christmas trees. These are the So see the difference? These are the Kramer. Those are the Kramer. Not Kramer, excuse me. I can't afford Kramers. These are the Fine-Techs. So, um, I'm disappointed in myself that I don't remember what colors they were, other than iridescent blue. Unless that's pyrite and that's hematite. I'm probably pronouncing pyrite wrong, but you know. Wax crayons. Still talking about watercolor crayons. I'm not sold on the Dina Wakley scribble sticks quite yet. I haven't played around with them enough. So anyways, I don't know if that answers anyone's questions about different watercolors, the difference between, or the zero difference between Jane Davenport and Prima. Now so if you see in my other journal with all of the swatches, or as Jean, which I absolutely love, Music Scrap Jean, said that now it's not swatches, these are mosaics. But I really like this size. And if you see this size, even when I do now in my Jane Davenport planner, I seem to like this. I think it's 1 inch. Like, it just comes natural to me. Where's the ruler? A whole room full of stuff. Can't find a ruler. Should be right here. Anyways, I believe it's exactly 1 inch. And I can just automatically paint it without measuring that it's 1 inch. I don't know where. It's usually sitting right here, but I haven't. All I've been doing in my room was dumping crap onto the desk. But it's pretty much like 1/4 of an inch by 1 inch. So anyways, with that size, my favorite brush, I'm using most of them, and I think I've pretty much worn out this one, the number 4, because number 4 is the one I use the most. No matter, I have like up to 26, but I've just been too attracted to this size of things. So Princeton Neptunes, these are my favorite brushes. Princeton Neptune 4 and 6. So this one, I've used it so much on all these things. I think I've worn it out. It doesn't, well, I mean, it's dry right now, but I can't get it to a point as much as this one anymore, because they wear out, right? I assume they wear. Don't look at that though. And I don't have any water. Well, I guess I could dip it into this. But I do have some Da Vinci brushes, black, silver, black velvet, all in size 4s. The Prima one I bought, don't get me started on that brush. But see, even with water, I can flick it. It's still not quite a fine point. I think I've worn it down. But size 4, when I do, this is all size 4. I don't know if it's just because I've got into the habit, all size 4. Sometimes I'll use a 6 if it's a bigger piece, like this would have been a 6. You know, and I have 2s, and some of them are 2s, though, obviously, if I'm doing this tiny stuff. Well, see, that's a thing, Piccola. Sargent, they're all made, there's lots of different, same product, different branding. But that Prima watercolor brush, no, I only bought a size 4, because 4, I have the most brushes in size 4, because I guess I just like that color, or that size. Oh yeah, I could have used my rolling ruler, Janet, to see if those were exactly 1/4 of an inch by 1 inch. I honestly don't know why that size has. Let's see. Yep, exactly 1/4. And I didn't measure any of this, my friends. Like it's truly 1 inch by a quarter. I don't know. I don't know how I can. I guess after all this, I don't know how I got it so it's exactly 1/4 inch by 1 inch. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. Now lately, all I've been doing was those swatches in my Jane Davenport planner, which all of us have already seen. Thanks, Kathy. I've done it for a long time, and all of that book, you know, still have carpal tunnel. Of course, haven't got the surgeries yet. So sometimes I can only do a couple lines, you know, a couple of lines, and then I have to stop because my hand hurts. But that, yeah, that Myungo, they sell a lot. I think Dee Dee bought a watercolor set years ago. Not years ago, a long time ago. But anyways, I have them all in my tin. Not all of them. Like I said, there's some out there in a different tin that's also mixed with some Daniel Smith colors. But I merged them all by color. I pretty know what, you know, from using it, which color is what. But I do need to do a swatch for sure. A swatch of just what's in this palette. But I haven't done it yet because I think I have to go and test all those new ones from the Glitz C palette to figure out where they go. Which ones, first of all, to figure out which ones are duplicates, and then to figure out where to go in here. It just goes from yellows, reds, pinks, purples. I don't know the color of the I don't know if it's rainbows, just the way that I think. Blues, greens, browns. Uh, then I'll do a swatch card. But now Prima has some new ones. I don't care if there's duplicates. I have to buy it. But I'm using it, right? So can't say I'm not using these watercolors. That's for sure. You can't judge me about buying any. Well, maybe you can because I have so many watercolors. But I'm using them. So that's all I really had to show this morning. I don't know if that's a big letdown or not. And I don't know why I can't get past. I guess real quick for people that are new, I'll show. A couple years ago, I did a lot of watercoloring as well. And I did at least 1 page a day. Just on my own thing. They're right here. I don't have to search too hard for these journals. So I was working on 2 at the same time. Both of them, this was from Dollarama. So I don't even know if it's watercolor. I mean, it says watercolor. I don't know. It's definitely soft or hard. I mean, it was $3, right? But I had 2 because I was working on 2 at the same time. Yeah. Sure, Eileen. I am using what I've got. When was the last time you've used what you got? Hey, Judy, tell me, when was the last time you used what you got? What art did you do yesterday? What art did you do the day before? That's what I thought. So I was working on these 2 journals at the same time. I was on the couch. Basically, I'd work on one and then I work on another. Let me get these watercolors out of the way. So yeah, so not artist grade watercolors like they claim. So not. But good. I use them every day. I truly can say I use them every single day in my Jane Davenport planner. So I was using 2 different books. This is a Canson mixed media journal because I didn't at that time. I don't even know if they had them, but I didn't have a watercolor one, so I'm going to do it different. This is a watercolor. So I went back and forth. I think I started in this one first, so I'll tell you what time. I don't know if this is interesting to anybody, but we're doing it anyways. Oh, look at this, Dee. She might be working on something. way back, we were talking about, Dee Dee was telling us about design seeds. I think this is done either with Inktense? I forget. Anyway, and then I was just testing different things. There's my Ashes stamp. And so then I started practicing. Now I bought this book. What is it called, Eileen? The Journal Junkie Guys or Journal Junkies Workshop. It's their first book. And there's one, and you'll see me warm up like this all the time. There's one exercise they have in there where they're just using some type of water-soluble product, drawing boxes, and then painting it out. So this is Inktense, and this is a Signo Uniball Vision Elite, which Dee Dee also made me buy. And Dee Dee's Inkwell, here on Ustream, or Dee Dee Willingham, and Dee Dee as DEDE on YouTube's. Alright, so that said February 2nd, 2015. Whoa, 3 years ago, my friends. Wow. That's a long time. So I was practicing. I had no idea what I was doing, but I would write notes. February 2015. Wow, 3 years ago. Blows my mind. Koi watercolors. I sprayed them. Then I was making a hot mess. I had no idea what I was doing with watercolors, my friend. I was just throwing them down. You know, no idea. Taking notes. Again, koi watercolored, angled brush. And then I was writing notes of too much spraying with water. I had no idea what I was doing. Look at this hot mess. But if you don't know what you're doing, right? I mean, you have to do some of this to be able to know what you're doing. There has to be a step, in there. So even if it's a hot mess. So all of this. So again, Journal Junkie Guys, I think is their name. They have an awesome book. What book? What is Janet putting in her cart? So again, no, Inktense pencils, koi watercolors. So I blended the Inktense pencils out. But see, back then, the Inktense, but I blended them out. The kois, I don't use my kois at all anymore, watercolors. Some distress stains that, molded, if anybody remembers when they first started, came out. The Ranger seems to sometimes have a problem with first runs. As soon as they first come out, there's like something wrong with it. So our distress stains went moldy. For example, our Dilutions paint went chunky. So again, back to more, these are Neocolor 2s, koi watercolors, and angled brush. So back then I wasn't using a very good brush either. They were just mixed media brushes probably. And I did not like that. Yuck. That's number 8. So who knows? And they get better and better. This one was half decent till I drew the, thickest stem ever. Oh, the rolling ruler. So this part looks good. This, I don't know what I was thinking. Why would I think it needs it's not a stem, that's a trunk. It's a tree trunk. But with the journal junkies, dang it. So they would just do the squares and, blend it out. But then as I progressed, I started to do circles. This one I connected with squiggly lines. These are Inktense pencils. Started with number 6 round, but finished with this small angled flat. So I don't know how I was doing an angled brush. But we did that. That's how I would warm up. And then I would do, so same over here. These are Neo 2s. I sprayed the paper, but it was too wet. Over here it says Neocolor 2s. Right side done first, let dry, then left side. I need a bigger round brush. Don't know what I was talking about there. This time I scraped gesso first and then Neocolor 2s. I didn't put a lot of Neocolor 2 on there though. So you see, like anything on the difference between non-gesso and gesso, anything in water media on gesso is gonna, resist. Even acrylic paint, right? You put on top of gesso and it looks different. Doesn't sink in. So because it doesn't sink in, it floats around. Who knows what hot mess I was doing here. There is says some gesso. I don't know what Simon's doing up there. Some more hot messes. Oh, did I miss a page? No. But sometimes you have to make hot messes. And you'll see my progression. I really like that. I really like that flower. This time I didn't put a trunk on it. It's a half decent stem. So again, it started out like this. Neo 2s. I blended them out with Koi. But what I was doing then, and I think I know better now 3 years later, is I was putting a real, and it's not like you can't do it, but I was putting like a real hard pressure, like a really thick, thick line with the Neocolor 2s and trying to blend out. But I know better now that you kind of have to do a thick line, but then, do some light, feather it out. What am I trying to say? How am I wording this? So I'm going to heavy pressure closest to the box, but then I want to color a little bit with the Neocolor 2 lightly so that it has more of a, gradation. Sorry, I'm reading. Everybody's talking to themselves. All right. Again, back to this. Inktense pencils. It says the cheap water brush. I threw them out. Oh, no. Okay. Here's a cheap water brush. We all know. We've seen these. We have these. They come in 3 sizes. I don't know if I have the other ones. You'll see later. When I was using them, because there's no... If you look at the other watercolor brushes, like, there's nothing to stop it. Like, there's not that regulator thingamajig in here. So as you see, as I go on, I was using with the Koi, and it was actually sucking the paint back in it. So I was ended up using a water brush that had the yellow ochre paint. As I was using it, it was like it was sucking it into the into the brush. Not on purpose. You can do it on purpose. All right. Then I had that Derwent Aquatone. Whose stream was it that was using the Aquatone and liked them? We were just at it. And I was like, they're junk. No offense to whoever was using the Aquatones. I threw them out. Now, if you saw my room, anybody that's known me for years knows I'm not a hoarder. I'm a treasurer. And it's rare. I mean, the product has to be like junk for me to throw it out. And maybe it was the ones I had, but they were so hard. You couldn't get any pigment off them. I didn't like them at all. Just my opinion. Threw them out. Alright, and then I just started doing random things. So this wasn't even... I didn't go by a picture, which I probably should, right? Yeah, exactly, Janet. So I didn't, like, have any photo reference. I just should have. But, I was just right on top. It said Koi washes, Koi washes, dried in water pen, last flat, what? Can't even read my own writing. Then I started doing some of my boxes that look like window. Still hot messes. I'll try to be faster. Rag. So this is the 7th. Know when to leave it alone, people. No. It was you, Janet, using aquatones? Okay, I don't feel so bad. I can tell you they're junk, but you won't. You won't take offense. All right, so this was closer to Valentine's Day this year. So again, it was 3 years ago. Blows my mind. But why I had two journals at the same time? I would let one dry, so I would paint, let this dry, go into that one, and back and forth. I really like this one. This is Inktense in 2 colors. I watered a blend. Second layer on hearts is Neocolor 2s in hot pink. Koi watercolors in turquoise blue. Sprinkled water while wet. So again, this is like hot press paper. It's junk. And I used a Pitt pen on top, it's telling me. And then I did a little crab. I really like, even now, Carla Sondheim. I don't know if I pronounce her name right. I have all of her books. Not all of them. There was like a kit that came with. Anyways, I really like her. So I just was doing some random, wash. And then I saw a crab. So I painted in the worst crab ever. Over here, I was testing something. Neo 2s, Koi watercolor in red, and bled it out. And then I thought it looked like curtains. Excuse me. Then I thought it looked like curtains, so I just drew some of those. And same thing over here. I thought I saw a dog. I don't know why the dog's poor hands are in his bowl. I don't know. He's standing in his water bowl. But again, there's no reference. I'm just doing whatever. These are black Neocolor 2s. And this one everybody thinks is hilarious. Again, Carla Sondheim. I put just the three of us. They're giving each other piggyback rides. Then I was trying some wet on wet. Dropping stuff in or using the card to scrape. Over here, I had some left on the brush, so there's a face peeking out there. I think that face, I had it like that because the red paint in these cheap brushes went back in there, which I guess some people would like. You can do some washes, but I don't suggest this watercolor brush at all. Then I saw a random pig into that wash. I think it's a pig. That was a big brush, so I used a 26 round on that one. And then some doors. But this time I googled image of old doors. This is February 8th. So I did all this, my friends. The progression from like nothing, like this hot mess. From, what was the first one I did? From February 3rd to February 8th. 5 days. In 5 days, I went from this hot mess, knowing nothing, to this stuff back here. And you'll see in the other book. So if you do something like every day, 2 pages, you will get better. You will get good. So again, this is a mixed media journal, not the other Canson that I found. The other Canson that's in watercolor. The other one's actually a watercolor, not a mixed media. So again, I was working at this at the same time. So now, Canson mixed media journals, pretty bad news for watercolor. Just sinks right in, right? So I don't know why I have the synchromatic transparent watercolor test over here. So if you look at the Journal Junkie guys, this is the same type of thing. That it's like one of their practice warm-up, I think. So that Inktense blended out with watercolor, random stuff. So this is a lot flatter, and this paper pilled a lot. Kind of like how that worked. So this Uniball Signo Elite. Did he buy me buy that pen? This was years ago. Vision Elite, excuse me. Vision Vision Elite. I have quite a few of these. Any of the doodling, any of this stuff is that most of the time. Sometimes it's a pit pen. So I'll just quickly go through some of these. This has said it was Cotman's. More doors or windows. Neo 2s again on there. Hot Mess. This time I had some sprays. Sprayed background. Oh, the sprayed background was already there. Already there from another project. That's why it's like that. Well, nobody's talked to me in 5 minutes, so I'm assuming I probably lost my chat. Or maybe everybody's so entranced about my watercolor journey. So this was gessoed. You can kind of tell the way the paint is flowing like that. Floating on top rather than sinking in. And I thought that kind of looked like a house. More random washes. But again, a wash is not good in this type of journal. February 6th, more Inktense pencils. Some little hearts. Oh yeah, I see Dee Dee. Everybody's just not talking. Bored out of their minds over here. It's okay. I'm almost done. We're almost good. I just finished this. So same thing. I had no reference. Just kind of did a wash and scribbled over it. I like that one. Did a door. No idea what I was doing. So this is all within 2 weeks, my friends, that I did these 2 journals. But I learned a lot. Oh my goodness, Simon. Washes, sure. More Carla Sondheim stuff. No, that's what I just said, Dee Dee. I'm like, I don't know, nobody's even talking to each other. That means everybody's either shopping or bored out of their mind watching something else. So I even wrote paper counts because that's all pilling there. And this was interesting because I want to paint a seagull. And this time I did use a reference. So here's the seagull. But the reference I used was this. So I wrote to myself, use a statue as a reference equals drawing of a statue. So if you do a statue. Oh, hi CB. Yeah, no one have to tell me. I like this tree. Koi watercolors, 26 round. So, if you just want to play with your watercolors and try to, see how they... It depends, I guess, if you like this whole wash look or not. These, like, circles and squares and hearts and all that type of stuff, especially if you have Neocolor 2s and want to blend it out. It's a good way to start. But I don't suggest on mixed media paper. I have no idea what that hot mess is. But, like I said, that's within 2 weeks' time. Right? All this stuff. 3 years ago. Blows my mind. So you really, if you could progress, and that's knowing, not that I know anything about watercolor now. I'm definitely not a, a watercolor expert, that's for sure. Unless you want to know about boxes, I can paint a mean rectangle, my friends. Oh, I kill myself. I also was doing this little Pentalic notebook. I was just, if I had leftover paint from whatever I was, say, painting in my other one, I was just using some old markers too. So I was just doing a little, whatever watercolor was left on my brush or in my palette. Some of them I added the black to it. I added the doodle. I have no idea what that is. Sometimes, some of them there's no doodle on there. So that's what I was doing with my leftover. And this isn't watercolor paper or anything. And then, of course, I stopped. Because I like to add a few more. Well, I was testing something there. So anyways, that's it, my friends. That's all we have today. Now I'm going to go relax a little bit. And before I have to go to work. I don't know if it's like I said, I don't know if you learned anything, but the whole point of today was to say that Jane Davenport and Prima are the exact same watercolors. Same colors. There's like 28 duplicates or 29 if I counted correctly. So in other words, if you have all the Prima sets, you don't need any Jane Davenport sets because they are all repeated colors, just named differently. But I like them. They're definitely not artist grade. Sometimes they're a little chunky and you really have to work at it to get the chunks out when you put it on the palette. But I always, one thing that Anna Victoria Calderon taught me on Skillshare is that always go from the tin to a palette to your paper. So, just not take right out of the palette and paint. Although I've done that, but to know how much, the consistency of water and what you're working with, paint, palette, water, paint, palette, paper. I make you want to I paint a mean rectangle, Jen. It's like letters. Soon I'll have whole books of just underturns and all, which I've been practicing too. Obsessive, little obsessed with those rectangles. So anyways, I shall see you all on Twitter. If anyone else wants to stream Janet, I've got a good, what time is it? 11:15, 12:15, 1. I have 2 hours that you can stream before I go to work. Right, Eileen? I should have. If I was super prepared, I should have had my Jane Davenport planner in here. But I've showed it every stream since I've streamed the last few, so. And if you weren't here in my last stream, we were looking for something else, and I found that I have some Moon Glow Magicals. Who knew? I have no idea. And obviously this isn't what Magicals look like anymore. Screaming Banshee Black. I think what I want to know, and all of my Lindy Stamp Gang sprays are filled. Lindy Stamp Gang sprays come unfilled. So basically it has the pigment at the bottom and you fill it with the water. Oh, rats. Anyways, I wonder if the powder that's in the bottom of the sprays when you get the Lindy Stamp Gang sprays, the powder has to be the same as Magicals, right? I don't know. All of my Lindy Stamp Gang sprays that I've had for years, they're all filled. But anyways, my friends, I'm out. I'll see everybody on Twitter. I'll check Twitter, see if anybody else is Janet can stream buying the ruler. Do a screenshot. Do a screenshot. I really don't know what